Hello, welcome to a quick demonstration on how you can create an email notification when a user is created. So the purpose of this demonstration is just to give you an option that you can notify particular email addresses or people when a new user is created. Is all because just to confirm the number of licenses that are still available or not, since Intact allows creation of users beyond the number of licenses being purchased, although we have a notification that when a user is created, then that may entail a usage of license. So this email notification just gives, let's say, to an admin or to somebody in finance just to double check the number of licenses that are still there compared with the number of users created, just to ensure that any overages will not be happening at all. All right, so what we can do is that you can create a smart event. So this is smart event that is applied on the object user. All right, so step 1 here. Under step 2, you can have some sort of validation when it comes to condition. So in this case, it's using the user info login disabled. So this is more for validation of an assumption that you can exclude creation of web services user. So we know that with a web services user, there is no direct login available for that user in Intact. So you can exclude maybe any creation of web services user, because creation of web services user, as long as you have the platform services, right, or the developer license rather, then you'll still be able to create web services user regardless. All right, so you can have that validation in there, but you may remove the condition if you want to validate all the users. And as what you can see here, this smart event will trigger an email. And under event here, you can see add. It's because this email notification will be sent on add or on create of a user. In this case, again, I'm excluding web services user. So any user like business user or employee user, then this should this should trigger email notification. And for step 3 of the smart event, you can define the email addresses in here. So what you can see, I have 2 email addresses separated by semicolon. So you can define the email addresses here, let's say of the admin, or again, somebody in finance who will be keen to look at this notified basically when a new user is created, just to double check the existing licenses purchased. So yep, so you can define your subject in here. This is just my sample subject, so it just gives the company name just to be more specific. And you have here the merge field for user login. So this is the new user information of the login created. So it's just, so basically the subject is just alert for ANJ company that user ID has been created. And yep, it's up to you to define the body in here of the email notification. So I just have that note in there. And yep, so this is just reiteration of the user login ID of the new user login ID has just been created. And I would like to capture other information there as well, like again, the user ID there, username if you want to, user type, whether business user or employee user, even the account email address of the new user, and the status as well. So yeah, these information are just available through the field lookup. So you can include other information which you deem necessary just for the recipient of the email to be notified what's that for. But I think I would be looking primarily with the user type in there just to make sure that as to how many business users that you have or employee user, right? Depending on the purchased number of licenses. And yep, so you can include whatever information in there. Just in my case, please check with the number of licenses purchased to avoid overage and action promptly before it's too late. So which means that when an email notification is received, let's say by an admin or finance manager, then they can just double check the number of licenses in there. If they know that the business user should only have been like 10 and they have 11 in there. So it's up to you to reallocate. Basically, maybe you can deactivate existing business user, which is no longer being used. So just to make sure that you still have that 10 number of business users, just again, so just to avoid overages and any interesting discussion with the billing team. All right, and the last station here or step for the smart event. This is user defined anyways as the smart link ID in here, so which is a smart event ID basically, right? So in my case, it's like new underscore user underscore creation under notification. So it's just a name basically to identify what that smart event is, just like typical naming convention. You may want it to be descriptive in there, although you may not accommodate everything in there, but you can put any description in here, right? It's just an optional one just to give whoever's accessing the smart events what that smart event is for. All right, so let's have a look at the email notification in here. So let's try to create a new user. All right, so I'll just click so new user again. So you can create new users through company admin, right? Users, roles, and groups. And if users in here, you can either click the plus sign there, or you can just have the users in there, the link. So you will be led through this screen and you can just click on add. So let's use demo user as the user ID, and I'll just use the same as well for the username and for the email address. Let's fill this out too. And what else do I have in here? So just ignore the other fields in there. Those are like custom fields. And let me just fill out the contact name here. All right. So I have the contact name. Just put user there, first name, demo user, and choose my email address there. And yep, let's leave it like that. Click on save. I won't be defining any, at the moment it's just business user, right? So admin privileges is off. Yeah, I'll just leave the role blank in there because just for this purpose, it's just I will also be ignoring user entities in here and a restriction like department or territories, but I'll just save this just for us to see if the email notification will be triggered. So I click on save. And we have this standard notification, right? Every time you create a user, whether it's a new user, which you haven't really exhausted the number of licenses that you purchased, it's just a standard pop-up message every time you create a user that is just a heads up for you that a new user could result to additional charges. And just to avoid, charges by deactivating user, as what we mentioned earlier. So if you have just 10 business users in there and you create a new one, might as well, deactivate an existing one which is no longer used, just to make sure that you still have that number of licenses there, right? Okay, so I'll just acknowledge this and just create, and I'll be prompted, of course, by my password. Okay, I hope I got that right. Click on verify. All right, so the new user has been created. Let me just have a look at this. Okay, and I click on view audit trail. So we know that's like 9:47, right? Oh, yeah, it's just my time zone in there. So, okay, I'll have a look at the email notification. I'll stop sharing for now. And if I retrieve my email, all right, let's have a look here. Just waiting for that email notification in there. And I'll just check as well the let's see if I go to platform services in there or under company, smart event jobs. Okay, still queued at the moment. So I'll just share my screen. All right, I'll just share my screen here. So you will see that it's still queued. This is add info there. Still queued. Okay, so that's the smart event that we have, which is new user creation notification. Let's just refresh it. Yep, still queued there. Let's wait for a few seconds or a minute. So double check this one here. This should be okay. All right, let's just refresh this again. Let's see if we have any luck. Yep, still queued at the moment. Time in queue has been like, interesting. 3 minutes now. Okay, I'll just keep on refreshing this just for oops. So if I go to company here, smart event jobs. Okay, that's cool. So we don't have that one there. Let me just stop sharing for now because I'll be opening up my email. But all right, okay. And let me just share my screen again, just for us to see the email notification. Yep, presto. So this is the email notification. Everything in here has been defined in a smart event. So you have that subject, remember that alert for the company name, and this is the user ID that we used, right? So demo user in there, it is the email addresses that I've defined as well on the email notification with the body of the email notification in there. There's the user ID, right? User ID, username, user type, and email address of the new user and active as well. So yeah, looking at the timestamp, so we waited, three um, odd minutes there just to receive that notification. But then again, yep, so you have this email notification, you can define it to be sent to your admin or to your finance manager or whoever is managing the number of licenses of the users in Intacct, just to make sure that this will somehow prompt that recipient to investigate. Okay, a new user has been created, then do I still have enough licenses basically to accommodate this one here? So discretion wise, that's what we mentioned earlier. If you have exceeded as to the number of licenses, right? Let's say number of business users, you can inactivate existing ones. If not, you can just acknowledge it. So billing will be able to catch up and you'll just be charged appropriately on the number of licenses that you have provisioned above the number of licenses that you initially purchased. All right. So, yep, hopefully this demonstration helps. Thank you.